Hey, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate you tuning back in. It's been a while since I made a video. I have been extremely busy, so I apologize for that. But basically, what I want to do today is dig deep into Bitcoin and do a little TA like I used to do. I also want to talk real briefly about Profit Trailer and PT Feeder, and more aggressively, I want to talk on PT Feeder and how it's helping me through these situations that we're going through. So basically, what we've been seeing the past few days is Bitcoin kind of taking incremental steps up towards 10,000. And that's a great sign if you're invested in Bitcoin. But if you have all of your money in a trading bot or you have a bunch of money in altcoins, you're probably not seeing the same returns. And so that can be a bit frustrating. And so when you look at Bitcoin, when it's doing these run-ups, right, it's taking this incremental step up. If we dig deep into this is the weekly chart. I have a bunch of charts pulled up for this video. But this is the daily chart. We can even dig deeper into the hourly and you can get a better idea. When Bitcoin takes these giant steps up, and if we look at this, this is about a 6-7% gain. You're seeing quite a bit of a retraction from the altcoins. And the reason for that, and that's happened many times in the past, is when people see Bitcoin going on a run, they take money out of altcoins, they take profits, or they may even take losses and dump some money into Bitcoin. And the problem with that is for the altcoin market is when Bitcoin starts to take these retracements, even just a small retracement like this from, let's see, where this candle wicked at the top, we're seeing a negative 3%. When that sort of thing happens, you're going to see the altcoins bleed as well. And a lot of times, depending on news, depending on what's going on around the project, these altcoins will tend to bleed as well. And so that makes it a bit difficult. So what I like to do in this situation, and I'll be doing an update video tomorrow night, is I use PT Feeder when I'm using Profit Trailer, and I hone in on Bitcoin or Ethereum, whatever trading pair I'm using. And I like to make sure that my settings are adjusted based on what Bitcoin or Ethereum is doing at any given moment. And that's why I love having Profit Trailer Feeder as an asset to my Profit Trailer portfolio, right? Like when you're using Profit Trailer, it's very static. When you use PT Feeder, it's dynamic, and it basically updates the market conditions based on what the market is actually doing. So when Bitcoin rises a ton, my buying value goes down quite a bit because I don't want to get stuck in a bad trade when Bitcoin rises and the altcoins start to bleed a little bit because everybody's dumping money into their altcoins. So what I want to do is dig deeper into Bitcoin in general, and we'll start from a macro scale. So if this is the weekly chart and you're looking at, basically you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row where we have had very positive gains. And let's look at these gains here from a percentage point of view. So you're seeing a 52% gain from the recent low, and that recent low is at about 6,500. Obviously we had our more deeper low at about 5,900, but we made a very nice higher low here. And what I'm seeing here is not necessarily problematic, but it is definitely something that I'm looking at where reaching this 10,000 mark may be a little more difficult than we all think. And this is kind of why I'm making this video, is we have 5 weeks of very healthy progression. And none of these weekly candles in general are super massive. I mean, that's a 30% candle. That's really nice to see. But what I want to get into is the BTC shorts. So basically when you're shorting, you're basically borrowing one BTC, like we'll use one Bitcoin, for example, and you're basically borrowing one Bitcoin from the exchange, and they give it to you and you're able to sell that Bitcoin. So you now owe the exchange one Bitcoin, whether you buy it back at a cheaper price or you buy it back for a more expensive price and take the loss. So that's basically what shorting is in general. And this is what you're seeing here on this chart. This is the BTC shorts. And basically the exchanges don't care what price Bitcoin is at. They just care that they want their one Bitcoin back that they loaned you. And so we're in a scenario where a short squeeze is when a key breakout of resistance happens and the bulls pile into a trade. And not only do you have bulls entering the positions, but you have shorts that need to cover their positions in buying back as well. And so that kind of entertains a very interesting situation. So when shorts become to like a relative high, like it was right here, at 40,723, if we go back in time, I mean, that's a very high. That might be the all-time high of Bitcoin shorts. And so what we're seeing here is if we look at this massive red candle, and keep in mind, this is not Bitcoin. This is the Bitcoin shorts. So, and this is on the daily candle. So if we go into the Bitcoin daily candle, which is this one, we will see where that short came into effect. And that was somewhere in this time frame. So let's go back. Let's find where that happened. That was April 12th. And so, I keep doing that. I apologize. Let's see. April 4/12, which would have been right in here. So, where is it? There she is. So if we look at this candle right in here, this nice green candle, I apologize for not being more prepared. But if we look at this nice green candle, this is where those Bitcoin shorts were liquidated. And that's why we saw that massive price action of 19, almost 20%. And the reason for that is we had just recently hit our all-time low, and we had some insane, the highest short volume of all time. This is when shorts were at an all-time high, and we saw this massive sell-off in shorts. Because basically what happens is the shorts get liquidated. So essentially what happens when these shorts get liquidated like this is it basically is a double the buying power, where these shorts have to buy the ask in order to fulfill their positions and be able to give it back, like give their one Bitcoin back to the exchange. So this basically doubles the buying volume, and it happens because the bulls are market buying as well as the shorts are market buying to give us this scenario. And so you're looking back at this, and you're looking at this nice green candle on a daily chart, and that's what happened here. So that kind of signaled to me that we were at this kind of double bottom that we saw in this situation, which was at 5,900 and 6,400 or whatever it was. But what I'm looking at right now is looking at that $10,000 mark. So we're very, very close, and we actually wicked almost on it. And what I'm seeing is there's a definite sort of resistance pattern sitting up there at the 10,000 mark. And so what we need to be aware of, if we go back to the weekly chart, is we're looking at this 5 weeks in a row where we're having this nice bull run of maybe 50%. I forget what we said earlier. Yeah, 54%, somewhere in that range. And this kind of makes me look a bit deeper. So I dig deeper into the 1 hour charts, and I look into this. So I see where we're sitting at a relative low. And what I want to do is pull out the Fibonacci retracement, go from low to high. And I want to put this high. It's right about 10,000. So what I'm seeing here is we are going to consolidate and maybe close on a lower candle, a weekly candle, lower weekly candle. So basically what I could see is I could see us creating a lower weekly candle. And what would cause that is creating a lower high on the 1 hour time frame, which would then coincide with a lower high on a 4 hour time frame. And believe me, I'm not spreading FUD. I am just giving you guys my thoughts and kind of giving you guys an opportunity, hopefully, to where it gives us a better buying opportunity to buy Bitcoin. Where did I get into a trade? I ended up getting into the trade right around here, which was not necessarily the best buying opportunity. It was actually right around here, about 9,700. Which would have been right around in this point of view. And I actually purchased Bitcoin. It dipped a bit and then it launched back up. And I ended up just holding through this sort of deal. And I actually just recently sold at about 9,800. That was my exit. And so what I'm seeing now is we're probably going to see maybe another retest of this 10,000 because the bulls are still in act. And on this 1 hour time frame, we're seeing a nice RSI pretty steady around 50, 51. So we're definitely not oversold. We're not overbought. And I do think that the bulls have the market right now. And if you look at the shorts, you can see that the shorts have steadily declined. And this is also a decent sign to say that we will probably be retesting the $10,000 mark. So I am actually just sort of waiting. We're on this right now. We're sitting at the 9,850 mark. I wouldn't be surprised if we sort of retraced on the 1 hour mark to a higher low or I'm sorry, I apologize, a lower high. Which is about where we are right now, a lower high clearly, and then maybe a lower low down to this range of the 9,700 mark. And when we do hit that, I'm going to be looking at the BTC shorts pretty frequently. And I'll also be looking at the fib retracements. I'll be looking at my other indicators, the RSI, depending on where everything is at. And I'll be looking for Bitcoin to retest this $10,000 mark. And when it does, if it does break through, I'll have a limit sell order for my new purchases around 10,100. And if it breaks right through, that is completely fine with me, because if it breaks through 10,100, if we look back at previous price action, I always say this, but previous price action indicates future results here. And if we look, previous price action right around 10,100-ish is this mark over here, which was previous consolidation. So right around 10,100, I feel maybe another resistance mark. So that's something we can think about, which I can draw in right about here. And by no means is this completely accurate. This is just something I'm eyeballing for the time being. So this is what I'm looking at. If we retrace back down to the 0.236 at 9,700, I would be probably a buyer. Not 100% sure, and I'm not telling you to buy. You have to do your own due diligence. But this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking for us to make a lower low and sort of consolidate in this region and retest that 10,000 mark. And the reason for that is I'm looking at this weekly chart. And if the weekly chart has 5 bull candles in a row, you know, it's difficult for me to say that we're going to close another weekly candle above the 9,976 mark. So if we do, then our next target would be way up here at about 11,500 somewhere. So that, you know, if we close above that, that's fantastic news and I'm all for it. I'm just looking at it from sort of a micro and macro point of view, and more as a trader, especially if you're using Profit Trailer and PT Feeder. These are situations that you want to look at to be sure that you don't get stuck in bad trades. So with that being said, that is all I have on this video. I know it's not super helpful for when you should buy and when you should sell. You know, I try not to do that here because I'm not a financial advisor. I don't do that sort of thing. I read the charts and tell you what I'm seeing and sort of how I'm looking to play this thing. So I'm looking for more of a lower high and a lower low, most likely, just very, very micro lower high. I'm not looking for this thing to go all the way down back to 9,200. At least I'm not hoping so. But if it does, you should be prepared just in case. But with that said, if you're interested in Profit Trailer, PT Feeder, check the links in the description. Look at my old videos. You know, we're coming out with a new Profit Trailer add-on, which will be really cool once the time happens. Leave a like, please. I'm really trying to get these videos. I'm trying to grow the channel as much as possible. I really appreciate all you loyal subscribers. I love you guys. And I will see you guys in the next video when I do a PT Feeder update. I'll catch you all in the next one.